Hello, pioneers. Sorry, takes me a little bit just to get to the right place and get it looking the way I want it to look. I'm going to share some lesson activities that I do regarding in, on, and at as it relates to location and time. And what I usually do is I focus on one and then I focus on the other. For this activity, I will start with focusing on location. First, I elicit from the students what they know about in, on, and at as it relates to location. I might put this screen up or not, depending. I know many of you use the idea of the pyramid for in, on, and at. One of my friends, teachers, and colleagues uses the target instead. And so for this exercise, I'm going to use the target. So what I'll do, as I said, is first I'll elicit, try to get some ideas of what they know. I may ask the students a few questions. What country do you live? Probably leave off in, but it depends. What street? Where do you go to school? Where do you study? Things like that. And then I'll create post-its with various words on them, and then they have to decide whether it goes in, on, or at. I may also bring up the idea of the target and the bullseye so they understand where I'm going with that. And the idea is that they go from more general to more specific. Larger spaces, less, they can be either less specific or larger spaces or enclosed areas. So we'll talk about that. When we talk about on, I do also bring up the idea of surfaces. And I'll show another document that I sometimes use, another image that I use. But we'll go through this activity. I'll see how they're doing. If they still have problems, on can really be a tricky one. And so what I may do as well is I'll show one other document that sometimes helps, one other image. And that is here. And I'll show this image because it tries to show on as being on various surfaces. I might also add an on the side here because it can be a wall. This shows it can be a ceiling, it can be on top, on a street, on the wall, etc., in a room, in a circle. And at can be tricky, and we talk about that because at can be inside the building or right next to the building or the location or whatever we are talking about. So I like this image as well. I think it's clean and sometimes offers further explanation for the students. And then we'll start talking about, okay, so what are the rules? When do we use? What are some guidelines for when we use in, on, and at as it relates to location? And then I'll open another document here that is about prepositions of time and place, and we'll go through some of these rules. We'll look at, we'll look at when we use in and talk about some of those ideas that we had gone over with the target exercise and bodies of water, surfaces. And then I do also talk about technology because that is another one that comes up. And then at where we're talking about specific addresses, at the bus stop, at the traffic light, etc. And then I offer them some practice exercises just to check and make sure, as a concept check, make sure they understand what's happening. And then we move on to time and date as well. And so with time and date, similarly, I will start with the target exercise. And so here we are at our target. And similarly, I'll find out what they know about in, on, and at, depending on the group. Some students know more than others. And we'll go through some of these exercises. In has to do with more general time frame again, on specific days of the week, specific dates, and holidays. And then we'll go at is generally related to specific times. So we'll go through that. Again, with Post-it, students walking, discussing, checking each other, making sure we're all in agreement on what's accurate. Generally, questions do come up as a result of that. And then we'll switch again to the worksheet, and I will post these worksheets. Here we go. That talks about prepositions of time and date. Again, months, years, and general periods of time we'll use in. And then on for specific days of the weeks and holidays, and at for specific times. Then I'll also include at the bottom, you'll see I have something with important notes, because there is one exception with the in terms of a general period of time in the afternoon, in the evening, but we do say at night. And I don't have a specific reasoning for why that is. If anybody does, I'd love to hear it. But I just tell them that's kind of one of those quirky things about English. And then I also share practice exercises with them. So they have some practice. It's a good comprehension check. And for most of my students, this is enough. I will go back and recycle it after the lesson with various questions, activities. What are they doing on the weekend? Where will they be in the evening, etc., things like that. So that's pretty much my in, on, at as I do it for my students. I hope you enjoyed my lesson, and I look forward to hearing everybody else's. Talk to you later. Bye.